people, it's your Nigerian pleasure bringing you political news in our channel Ghanatube. Here are some of the recent happenings in Ghana. Please watch.
Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Speaker, before I continue, permit me to quote from the State of the Nation. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, page 5 of the State of the Nation, paragraph 6, to be precise. His Excellency said he was inspired by the Almighty God and propelled by the massive mandate given me by the good people of Ghana. He made a statement that the NDC administration fixed Dumsor before we left power in 2016. And he made a purposeful, bold declaration again that I, John Dramani Mahama, will fix the economic crisis confronting our country and reset it on the path of growth and prosperity. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, on delivering the State of the Nation address, was very truthful to Ghanaians on the state of the economy. And he did not come here to lament, but he came to promise us that he will fix the nation and the Ghanaians who voted for him will be happy again. And he will reset Ghana. Mr. Speaker, on gender inclusivity, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is committed to working with women, and he demonstrated it in appointing Her Excellency Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman as the first female Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, he made reference to the Affirmative Action and Gender Equity Bill 2024 and that he was committed to working with us. He admitted truthfully that so far his government has appointed 23.8% of women, but he is committed to ensure that he will get to the 30% mark so that we'll get more women to work with in his administration. Mr. Speaker, what do we see here? When we come to the Chamber of Parliament, we have 41 women, 32 women from the NDC side and only 9 from the MPP side. This shows clearly that the NDC administration, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is more committed to working with women, and I'm a testament of his deeds. Mr. Speaker, on the gender inclusivity bill, he also spoke of the fact that when you come to local governance, we have only a few women who are bold enough to contest for the MMDC positions, and that is not good enough. So the NDC administration is going to work closely with the gender ministry to ensure that we encourage more women into local governance to help them climb up. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of women again, he promised the good people of Ghana, especially the women, to establish the Women Development Bank. And this is a promise he made during campaign and during the State of the Nation address. His Excellency is committed to making sure that he's going to support women, because most of the time, accessing loan for women is very difficult. But this Women's Bank is coming with loans for women to support our businesses. And I think it's a place where all women around the country should applaud His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. It is so refreshing for most women to hear that we have a vice president and the president is working with her and working with us women to ensure that women are where we are supposed to be. Mr. Speaker, I want to talk on education. His Excellency has made it clear that the NDC administration is not going to cancel the free SHS as is being as our opponents are talking about, but he's going to make sure that he's going to make it better. As we sit in the chamber, members of parliament will attest to the fact that we said the SHS is free in quotes, but when school reopens for the SHS students, most parents come to members of parliament for support. And I believe that with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, with the reforms that he's going to bring about in the educational sector, will ensure that members of parliament will have some freedom when school reopens. Because most of the time, we have to buy mattresses, we have to buy buckets, provisions, and all other things to support parents for their wards to go to school. I don't blame the parents. They don't have it. That's why they come to us. Mr. Speaker, on health, Agenda 111, His Excellency made us aware that the Agenda 111, none of the hospitals have been completed. Though La General Hospital is not under Agenda 111, what did we see? In the 8th Parliament, they started it, and up to now, it's running at a tortoise pace. So he's committed to bringing healthcare to the doorsteps of the people, and I believe His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC administration will ensure that these health facilities will be completed. Because when you are sick and you go to hospital, they don't ask you which political party you belong to or which region you come from, but all you need is proper health care. And the NDC administration is committed to bringing proper health care to the doorsteps of the people. Mr. Speaker, on the 24-hour economy, it is a policy by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama that is coming to change the fortunes and gains of the Republic of Ghana. And this is a policy that we have to support. That is, we are going to run 3 shifts and to ensure that those who do not have jobs to do, they'll get jobs to do. Security will be taken care of. Transportation will be taken care of. Where we need the Ayalolo buses that were abandoned by our opponents, the MPP administration, when they were in government. The Ayalolo buses are there, and I believe it's going to support the 24-hour economy to make sure that Ghana will come back to life. More people will get jobs to do, and I believe you and we are going to enjoy the gains of the 24-hour economy. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the State of the Nation address by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. A truthful State of the Nation he gave us indeed. Thank you, His Excellency.
Thank you very much for not allowing me to even prompt you. Thank you so much. Let's now turn to Honorable Mavis Nkansa Bodu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the State of the Nation's address, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, also let me add my voice to the other colleagues in thanking the President on coming to the House to give the State of the Nation's address as mandated by Article 67 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy that Honorable Suhini agrees with the minority that the President did not deliver on the State of the Nation's address. Mr. Speaker, he did. Mr. Speaker, he did say it. Mr. Speaker, we can check the hands that he did say that he did. Mr. Speaker, it is rightly so because all the President did was to lament. Mr. Speaker, when the President attended on the House.
Honorable members, I've already laid down the rules. Please, let's allow the debate to flow. So far, so good. We've done well, at least. I don't want to entertain it. Even the leader wanted to come by way of Aye. I didn't allow it. Please, let's Aye. So, Honorable Member, continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, once again. So then, as I said, the President only lamented. Mr. Speaker, when the President attended on the House, he painted a very gloomy of the erstwhile administration as if nothing good had been achieved under the 8 years of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's presidency, which is entirely false, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we all know very well that there are several indicators of seeing how robust or weak an economy is. When the President attended on this House, he only focused on inflation rate, which he mentioned it was at 23% when he became President. Mr. Speaker, what he failed to also mention was that 12 months prior to that, the inflation rate was at 54%. In a record time of 12 months, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was able to reduce it from 54% to 23%, which is very commendable, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the President went ahead to say that the economy that was handed to him was criminally handled. Mr. Speaker, I beg to differ. It is very unfortunate and unfair. Mr. Speaker, this was an economy that grew at a rate of 6.3%, Mr. Speaker, and that was post-COVID and after the Russian-Ukraine war. Mr. Speaker, I would like to draw the House, Mr. Speaker, Whenever the president came home, he failed to mention the effects of COVID. But in international engagement, he mentioned that COVID had ruined the entire world being. Mr. Speaker, please. Mr. Speaker, I would like to draw this House's attention back to 2016, when the mandate was given to His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Mr. Speaker, we took over an economy with a growth rate of 3.4%. Mr. Speaker, if this economy was criminally handled with a growth rate of 6.3%, which surpassed the IMF prediction of 4%, I would say that then His Excellency John Dramani Mahama criminally handled our economy as well. Mr. Speaker, that economy was on life support, actually was dead and needed a miracle to resuscitate it. And that is exactly what His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo did. He performed miracles to resuscitate our economy. Yeah, Mr. Speaker,
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, the economy that was criminally handled, Mr. Speaker, was able to restore teacher training allowances and nursing training allowances that collapsed under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Speaker, in the same vein, we're able to revive the health insurance scheme, which His Excellency John Dramani Mahama scrapped. Mr. Speaker, we're able to fix Dumso and keep our lights on for 8 consecutive years. Mr. Speaker, in the same vein, we introduced free SHS when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said it was going to take 20 years to get that done. He did.
Go ahead, don't mind me.
Mr. Speaker, so to say that that economy was criminally handled is unfair and very misleading. Mr. Speaker, during the electioneering period, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama campaigned on the back of unemployment, especially amongst our youth. Mr. Speaker, what did we see? One of the first instructions His Excellency gave was to instruct His Chief of Staff to terminate all appointments that was done.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, he asked his Chief of Staff to terminate all appointments that were done after the 7th of December. Mr. Speaker, we all know very well that appointments do not start and end in a day. Some takes weeks, some takes months. So he knows very well that most of these appointments started somewhere June, July, August. So to say that you've come into power and you are terminating appointments when you came to power on the back of unemployment is very unfair, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the President, do we have second-class citizens in this nation? No. Because that is exactly how he's treating these young people. Mr. Speaker, this has also opened the floodgate like this as a nation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, but first to fortune. He said, I think what the President is trying to do is prepare us of the hardship ahead. If he's having problems keeping our lights on, I'm going to call on the President to reach out to his predecessor and ask him how he was able to keep our lights on for 8 years. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, the President during his electioneering period again, Mr. Speaker, he gave a promise to the women of this nation.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, he gave a promise to our women. And when we're working on the affirmative action bill, which is now an act, Mr. Speaker, he gave us the assurance that we had the full support, we had his full support, and he supported women. Mr. Speaker, what do we see when the mandate was given to him? Mr. Speaker, in the last administration led by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we had 5 out of 19 women in cabinet, Mr. Speaker, which represented 26%. As it stands now, we have only 2 women in cabinet. Has Mr. President changed his mind on supporting women? Mr. Speaker, when I look on my side, I see about 31 beautiful, eloquent, knowledgeable women. And I know that when the President was in opposition, he was a firm believer in reshuffling. We beg him whenever he decides to do a reshuffle, he should consider our women on this side because of doing the work done, Mr.
Thank
Speaker.
you.
Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I wasn't one That was never, I was never going to, and I would never vote for the NDC. But I was quite excited when the president mentioned the 24-hour economy. Mr. Speaker, I thought that this was going to thrive on the back of the private sector. Mr. Speaker, when the president came to this house, I mean, during the electioneering period, we had different explanation of what the 24-hour economy meant. I hope that he come into this chamber, gave him the opportunity to explain to Ghanaians what exactly what the 24-hour economy did.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, he failed to do this. He's only limited the 24-hour economy to the passport office through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Speaker, I want to state on record that we started a 3 and 2 shift and cleared the backlog of 70,000. So the 24-hour economy that is talking about, he should focus on the private sector.